All right. We got big news in Texas Longhorn country, and boy, do I mean big news. John Turntine just committed. 6'3.5", 260 pounds. He's the number 2 ranked interior offensive lineman in the country. Justin, take us behind the scenes of this one. How is Texas able to get it done?
Yeah, so they've been on John Turntine for well over 2 years. They were really early in the offer process and in evaluation. Kyle Flood has built just a tremendous relationship with this family. They've been visiting for, like I said, almost 2 years. Very comfortable with Texas, very comfortable with the atmosphere in Austin and things of that sort. There's family in Austin that I also think helped out as well. So for about 2 years, Texas was kind of the de facto leader. That's who he saw the most, and that's who recruited him the hardest. And then official visit season came around in June, and Michigan and Texas A&M really did a tremendous job in the recruiting process there, and really hosted him and did a lot of good things, and kind of clouded this recruitment up for a couple weeks. It really looked like Michigan and A&M had a legitimate shot there for a while, but he saved his last OV for Texas. And I think that's kind of what saved this whole thing, because Kyle Flood and Steve Sarkisian and Chris Gilbert and all those guys absolutely knocked it out of the park. I think Mr. Turntine told our Charlie Williams it's almost like they had a cheat code. They knew exactly what to say. They knew the answer. They knew the answers to all our questions. We were reminded why Texas has been the leader in this recruitment for years and years, and finally, made that call that it was going to be the Longhorns. And so I know he's listed as an interior O-lineman. Texas is going to bring him in the offensive tackle group. Okay. He definitely has some growing to do. We know that he's a little slight in that regard, but that's what a strength and conditioning coach is for. That's what Torrey Beckton's for. And so he'll probably start off at right tackle. And I think this is just a big get, because Michigan was really in his ear, and Texas A&M made a considerable push as well.
So he's a versatile offensive lineman, big body that's going to come in. They have room on that frame to add more weight. Who's maybe a Texas Longhorn on the current roster, or maybe a former Longhorn that you would compare his style of play to?
Oh, great question. From a tenacity standpoint, from his disposition standpoint, DJ Campbell, the starting right guard right now. I think he was a borderline 5-star, 4-star when he was coming out of Arlington Bowie. He's going into his third year as a starter at Texas. Turntine's bigger. He's much more athletic, and that's saying something, because DJ was a really good athlete. He was great in track and field, and he was great in basketball. Really a good post in the paint. But Turntine kind of gives me that, because they're just mean. They have this switch. Like, if you ever talk to John, he is one of the nicest, quietest, sweetest kids you're ever going to interact with. Watches what he says, doesn't say too much, just a very cool kid. You put the helmet on, and he turns into an animal. And that's similar to DJ Campbell. I remember him being kind of soft-spoken off the record and behind the scenes. And then you watch him play, and he's literally trying to kill people. And so I would probably compare him to DJ a little bit. He's got a long ways to go from a weight and strength standpoint to where DJ was. But just the versatility, the tenacity, the disposition, he's got some of that. And I think he's got some athleticism that reminds me of starting left tackle Trevor Gooseby. That's a guy that he was easily the best athlete in the offensive line group, the best NFL prospect, to tell you the truth. And so I would say a mixture of Campbell and Gooseby.
Well, I just got to ask this because of the era of recruiting we're in. Is this a commitment that Texas fans are going to have to worry about? Or, I mean, John Turntine just, to me, seems like he was born to be a Longhorn. We've been talking about him taking these visits since his 9th grade year. Do you think this is the end of his recruitment?
In this particular one, yes, I do. And like I said, every recruitment is different. Some kids are going to drag it out a little bit. Some guys are going to shut it down and be done. And some recruitments are, as we've learned in this era, NIL-based, NIL influenced. I can tell you with John Turntine, it was not NIL influenced whatsoever. And so I think for a guy like that, he makes a lot of sense. I think he's been recruited so long, and this is just my opinion, I think his family is so sick of the recruiting process, they wouldn't dip their toe on another campus ever. once this thing's done. Like, it's not gonna. I would be shocked if he opened his recruitment back up. And also look at the future with Kyle Flood. They don't really lose offensive line guys. They don't get guys decommitting that have jumped in the board for Kyle Flood. And that's what they're putting together this year with such a great O-line haul. With John Turntine, I think he's done and done. I think that guy will be in Austin in January, and he'll jump into the strength and conditioning underwear Olympics probably 2 weeks later.
All right, Texas fans, jump in the comment section. Talk to Justin and I. How are you feeling about John Turntine, now a Longhorn? Let us know. Comment section below.